Hello guys, I'm sorry I can't be here with you today, but grab a sheet of paper, take some notes along with. We're going to kind of go back over everything we learned on Friday, and then we're going to have a practice for it. So I'll reteach it today if you weren't here, or it'll be a nice review. All right, first off, this guy up in the corner, you don't have to copy it down because we should have written it down by now, but if you don't have it, it's going to come in really useful today, so you should have it somewhere. All right, so we're going to do 3 problems, take a picture of them at the end, and I'll talk about what you're doing in class today. So, first guy. So it's a trinomial because there's 3 terms, which means we need to factor it. So there's going to be an X game involved. To find the number that goes in the top of the product, it's the first number times the last number. And notice that whether it's positive or negative matters. So 3 times -5 makes -15, so that's going to be our product. And then the sum is this number in the middle here, so -2. So we're going to write out a factor chart for 15, which means sit here with a calculator, do 15 divided by 1 is 15. 15 divided by 2 is a decimal, so I don't want it. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 15 divided by 4 is a decimal. 15 divided by 5 is 3, and notice that I've used the same numbers twice there. There's my repeat. All right, the reason why this chart is going to be so useful, negative product and negative sum, if I look on here, says the larger number in the factor chart is negative. So the right side is negative, the left side will be positive. So this is really 1 and -15, 3 and -5. I'm going to kind of clean this up here. And we're going to choose which pair of numbers, when you add them together, gets you -2. So 1 plus -15 does not make -2, it's -14. 3 plus -5, that one works. So that's going to be the pair of numbers we use. So if you guys remember, we're going to split the middle. So the 3x squared is going to come down. The -5 is going to come down. So the first term and the last term do not change. But we're not going to write -2x in the middle. Instead, what we're going to write is +3x and -5x. And now that we have 4 terms, we can split it in half and use grouping. But we're going to ask ourselves, what's the biggest thing that can go into 3 and 3? So what are they both divisible by? Well, if they both have a 3, it's certainly a 3. And they both have an x, so 3x. And then we're going to divide. So 3 divided by 3 gives us 1. X squared divided by x is x. 3 divided by 3 makes a +1. X divided by x cancels out. And then we put parentheses, and whatever we divided by, so this 3x goes out front. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So 5 and 5, well, they have to both be divisible by 5. They do not both have an x, so it's just going to be 5. And because this symbol in the middle here is negative, it's also going to be negative. All right, so let's divide. -5x divided by -5 makes a +1x. -5 divided by -5 makes a +1. Parentheses, and the thing you divided by, so -5, goes out front. And then from here on out, we can just check that our answer is correct because these parentheses have to match. And so the answer is going to be your GCFs, so 3x minus 5, and then the 1x plus 1. And as a reminder, the order does not matter. If you would have said 1x plus 1 and then 3x minus 5, that would have been perfectly fine. As long as you have those 2 parentheses, the order doesn't matter. So let's try another one because it is the same idea the whole way down. So here again, I have 3 terms, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to draw my x. The number on top is going to be the product, so the first number times the last number. Well, the last number is definitely +16. The first number, if there isn't anything in front, you can put a 1. So 1 times +16 makes +16. And the sum is going to be the number in the middle, so -17. All right, so we're going to write up a factor chart for 16. It's always the product. Divided by 1 makes 16. Divided by 2 makes 8. Divided by 3 is a decimal. Divided by 4 is 4. And there's already a repeated number, so we're done. All right, I'm going to look up at this chart. I told you this chart would be useful. Positive product on top, negative sum on bottom. So that's this guy. Positive on top, negative on bottom. Says everything in the factor chart, the left and the right side, all negative. And so I'm going to start adding these pairs up and see which pair gets me negative 17. And in this case, it is the first pair, negative 1 plus negative 16. So we're going to split the middle again. So the 1x squared comes straight down. That does not change. The plus 16 comes straight down. Does not change. The only thing that's going to change is this middle. So instead of negative 17x, we're going to use this negative 1 and the negative 16. So negative 1x and negative 16x. And then same thing. We have 4 terms now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Split them down the middle. All right. This one's going to be easy because they're the same number again. And they both have an x. Now notice that the first one, it's always going to be positive. Don't worry about that negative right there. 1 divided by 1 is 1. X squared divided by x is x. Negative 1 divided by 1 is negative 1. X divided by x cancels. Put your parentheses out front, or put your GCF, so we divided by 1x. That's what goes out front. For the next side, 16 and 16, how nice that it's the same number. Notice they do not both have an x, so it's just 16. And this symbol in the middle is negative, so that tells me that this will be negative. And then we divide. Negative 16 divided by negative 16 makes a positive 1, negative 1. And what you divided by, so the negative 16 goes out front. All right, you double check that your parentheses match, which they do. They both say 1x minus 1. So 1x minus 16 for your GCFs, these guys, and 1x minus 1. And you don't have to write your ones. I'm just in the habit of doing it. If you said x minus 16, x minus 1, that's fine. And as a reminder, you could have written these same parentheses, but backwards. So if you said x minus 1, x minus 16 would have been fine. All right. For the last one then, the last one is 9x squared minus 4. And you'll notice that there's a problem here because you're supposed to have 3 terms, a first term, a middle term, and a last term. This one does not have that. It only has 2 terms. So as a reminder, if it only has 2 terms, what you need to do is you need to put a 0x in the middle. So if there's nothing in the middle, that means it's 0. And we know that it's supposed to go x squared and then a regular x and then nothing. So put that in. All right, now that it has 3 terms, it can work exactly the same way as these other guys did. So we're going to draw our x. The first term, so 9 times negative 4 makes negative 36. And then the sum, the number in the middle, is 0. Okay. I'm going to write out my factor chart here, but then I'm going to have to erase it. So 36 divided by 1 is 36. Divided by 2 is 18. Divided by 3 is 12. 36 divided by 4 is 9. 36 divided by 5 is a decimal. 36 divided by 6 is 6. All right. Negative product, positive sum. So negative on the top, positive on the bottom says the left side is negative, right side is positive. We're going to start adding up these pairs of numbers because we're trying to get 0. So negative 1 plus 36, no. Negative 2 plus 18 is 16. That doesn't work. Negative 3 plus 12, no. The one that works, negative 6 plus 6 makes 0. So that's the pair of numbers we're going to use. And if you can do that without writing out the factor chart, that's even better. All right. So we're going to split the middle. So 9x squared stays. The minus 4 stays. But in the middle, do not write 0x. We're going to write negative 6x plus 6x. Because that's the numbers that we chose here. All right, and then we're going to divide them in half, and we're going to start doing GCFs. So 9 and 6. Now, this is finally one where the numbers aren't the same. 9 and 6, they're both divisible by 3. And they both have an x. So now we divide. 9 divided by 3 makes 3. X squared divided by x is x. Negative 6 divided by 3 makes negative 2. X divided by x is cancels. And then the thing that you divided by goes out front. And same thing over here. So 6 and 4, what are they both divisible by? Write out your factor charts if you're having a hard time guessing it. But 6 and 4, they're both divisible by 2. They do not both have an x. And look at this sign in the middle. It's positive, so that says it's just 2. So let's divide. So I get 3x minus 2. 6 divided by 2 makes 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And then the thing that you divided by goes out front. And then your parentheses match, so that means we did it right. They're both 3x minus 2. So the GCFs go in one of them. Doesn't matter whether it's the first one or the second one. 3x and then a positive 2. And then your parentheses that matched go in the other one. All right, so there's kind of our reminder for how factoring works. That was what we learned on Friday. Let me talk about what you guys are going to do today. So you'll find this page with all 10 problems on it on Schoology. Let's see if I can bring it up here. So this page right here that has all 10 problems on it, so that's what you guys are going to be doing today. But let's do this first one together so that we can talk about it, all right? You'll notice that they're multiple choice. So you're going to show your work on a separate sheet of paper. Notice that there isn't really a way to do this in your head, right? At the very least, you've got your x out, you've got all 4 terms, and then you're dividing. So you have to show your work for this. There's no way around it. And so that's what we're going to be doing. On a separate sheet of paper, you're showing all your work for them. So x squared minus 3x minus 4. So first thing, first term times the last term. So there's a 1 there. 1 times negative 4 makes negative 4. The sum is the number in the middle, negative 3. All right, the factor chart for 4 is 1 and 4, 2 and 2. Negative on top and bottom says the right side is the negatives. And the pair of numbers that adds together to make negative 3 is 1 and negative. So when we split the middle, so the 1x squared gets rewritten, the minus 4 gets rewritten, and in the middle we're going to use a positive 1x and a negative 4x. Don't forget that these guys in the middle always have x's. Split them in half. GCFs, the numbers are the same. That's always nice when it happens. So it's definitely got to be 4. No x. Got to be negative as well. And so now we can write our answers. So your GCFs, 1x minus 4. 1x plus 1 would be our answer. So the way that we're going to solve this is we're going to circle our answer on your paper so that it's easier to find. And then up here, we're going to find which answer matches that. So first off, notice that they didn't put their 1s in front. That's fine. And also the order doesn't matter. If you saw x plus 1, x minus 4, that would have been fine. In this case, the answer is A. All right. So that's how we're going to do this for today. First one is already done for you. There are 9 more of them. Your bell work will be helpful. Make sure that on the ones that only have 2 terms that you put that 0x in the middle. For some of these guys down here, when it says which of the following expressions is a factor of the polynomial below, That still means that you have to factor it the whole way, the same way that we did this one, but it's only giving you one of the parentheses. So for example, for this one, I could either find x minus 4 in the answers or x plus 1 in the answer. All right, only one of the parentheses has to match. All right, and then whenever you guys are finished, take a picture of your bell work, turn it into Schoology, and then also take a picture of your work for these 10 questions. First one's already done. Take a picture of that and also submit that to Schoology. I'll see you guys tomorrow.